On this week's episode of Marketing Clock.
In the market for improvements, some updates are coming to Microsoft ads that will enhance the experience.
Who took the cookie from the cookie jar? You took the cookie from the cookie jar. Who, me? Yes, you. Who, not me? Then who? The UK's Competition and Markets Authority. That's who.
All on today's show.
Welcome, you are listening to Marketing O'Clock. Just stay tuned. Digital marketing news, but let's get specific. Digital ads, SEO and analytics, social media and more. Pretty much everything that'll make your website perform. With new shows every Friday. We give you the news with sass and puns and definitely hot takes. Thank you for tuning in. You know what time it is. It's officially Marketing O'Clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.
Hey there, I'm Greg Finn.
I'm Jess Budd.
And it is officially Marketing O'Clock.
Here on February 9th, 2024.
And before we get into all of the digital marketing news this week, I just need to confess. I had no idea. I know this is like my life now, and sorry you're here for the show. I'm trying to be entertaining. This is all I have in my life. I had no idea how intense children's sports were at the 9-year-old level. I know last week we were talking about how I despise Stanleys on the sideline and the straws
the water bottles,
get everybody's wet. I was in a game this weekend where the opposing coach, I thought, was going to murder a referee.
Hey, you orificious jerk!
We had a older referee, very skinny, frail man, very nice, cordial, and I was playing against an opposing coach who I knew from college.
What sport, by the way?
Soccer. This was for soccer. I try not to give it up, but there's only one sport going on right now.
I didn't know that.
And there's something that's called a build-out line you're supposed to be behind, and my team was pretty close to that build-out line. I also have a bunch of really fast players that can just fly in there and might have actually been okay. And the opposing coach, I thought, was going to actually take the referee's head off of his body and separate. I've never seen.
For what?
Because
your kids were too close to the line?
We thought we were too close to the line, and then he couldn't get his subs in on every single play. And I had a problem too, and sometimes I didn't get it in because he didn't hear me, but I was like, oh, next one, you'll come in, no problem. But it turned into a shouting match.
Oh.
It turned into the referee saying you have to raise your hand. And the other coach is like this, because that's what I've been doing.
It's so uncomfortable to watch.
And then it proceeded into halftime. And my kid, they're 9 years old. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? They're 9. And so I'm like, all right, here are the keys to the half. And the ref, and I just hear, well, what am I supposed to do? Blah, you do it, man. And I'm like, all right. So I move around so that they look away. So they have to look at me. I'm like, eyes on me, eyes on me, eyes on me. And on top of it, I'm like, and then we need to communicate better.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Oh my gosh.
He's mad.
Mad. Yeah.
Over
substitutions.
Little. Yeah.
And I have yelled at a referee before. I'm not gonna. I have, but it's when some of my players, especially my younger players or smaller players, have gotten trucked without a foul call.
Okay, that's a much better reason. You're defending the youth.
And I do it. And my style of yelling, I think, is hysterical because in the bylaws and everything, it's like you have to treat the ref with respect. So me,
yell, sir,
but worse. So for me, I'm like, okay, you have to treat them with respect. So I go, respectively, if that's not a foul, there's no such thing as a foul, with respect. And so I say respect,
ridiculous.
I know, but I'm like, you can't yell at me for not being respectful. I said respectively. I said with respect. You can't tell me I'm not treating you with respect. I literally included it in my jeer at you.
I don't know if that counts, but I like that you're trying.
Yeah, but so I'm always like, if that's not a foul, there's no such thing as a foul, with respect. With respect. But there was nothing like that on the other side.
And this guy seemed like he was mad for like of his own accord too. Like I said, you were defending your players, the youngins, when you got mad.
When there's a egregious foul that puts, because if you don't stop that early, it just kind of continues on. And so like you really just want to stop that. But like something like a sub,
I raised my hand, you didn't see me. Let me yell.
So anyway, youth sports is a hostile environment, I guess. Who knew? All right, what's in the digital marketing news this week? Jess and Shep is out.
We didn't mention that.
Unfortunately, she is a daycare mom, in case you haven't been on the internet. Went viral with that, and some of that germs made it into Shep. So yeah,
she's down for the count, and we thank her for not spreading it to us. Although I don't thank her, because now I'm stuck reporting on Microsoft ads, and I know she just loves to go through these updates, but I will do it for you, Shep, and I hope you're feeling better. Some updates from the platform. First, currently in beta, enhanced conversions are launching in all markets across America and Europe in the coming weeks. So if you are not familiar, enhanced conversions incorporate privacy-safe first-party customer data such as email and phone numbers to essentially make your conversion reporting more accurate. So it improves the accuracy. It helps you track better cross-device with conversions and comply with regulations, because it's all privacy-safe in how they do it. So that's launching wide, which is nice. Some other new things with the platform: advertisers in the US and Canada will be able to tap into in-market audiences based on company size and job titles. This is data sourced from LinkedIn. There is RSA asset reporting that's now going to be available at both the campaign and ad group levels. They've also got a new campaign creation view that's supposed to make things easier. They note that it's just a couple of steps, so I would say be careful with that one. And finally, the previously announced deprecation of the hotel center in favor of the new lodging campaigns has been put on pause, and that's due to customer feedback. A lot of folks said they needed more time to prep for that transition. So I love when people listen. It's not being stopped indefinitely, but it is being paused to give people a little bit more time if you are in the hospitality space. So a lot of updates there. Most of them kind of small, but enhanced conversions is a big one, again, across America and Europe in the coming weeks. So look out for that.
Yeah, and I think those in-market audiences by the company size and the job titles are huge.
Yeah, could be for SaaS advertisers in particular.
Right.
Looking at you, Shep.
I know. Well, we talk about all the time that when you see these announcements like Google, Marketing Live or something like that, it never really talks to B2B. But the ability to eliminate company sizes that are enterprise level or something, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
It is.
Long live Google Gemini. Apparently, and it's supposed to launch today. We record on Wednesday, and it's supposed to launch on the 7th. But apparently, Google Bard is changing its name to Gemini. In addition, there's a couple other changes. There will be a pro version, it appears, according to MSN. Also, we're going to have it in the cool tools section, but there's more capabilities like image generation. And so if you have been I feel like all the good names get taken away. They took Portal away from us.
They took the whole product away.
They're going to take
not just the name.
Bard.
I know. What are you going to say?
Gemini.
The year is young. You will have a new weird thing to say.
That's true. But apparently there was a change log that was supposed to happen, and a developer saw that there was a change from Bard to Gemini. And I guess my only question is, like, I know we talked about this over and over and over again, but what on earth is happening with the naming over at Google? Because Google had just announced Gemini, and that was a few months back, where you could get Gemini in 3 sizes. You could get Gemini Ultra, Gemini Pro, Gemini Nano. And these were all these different LLMs. And then Bard would use the Gemini technology. So now it seems like Gemini is not a separate product, where it seemed like Bard was for text and Gemini was supposed to be like images, video, text, all, like kind of everything, like multimodal, whatever. But just to change Bard to Gemini, doesn't that like...
If Gemini was already something.
It was already a thing.
Yeah. Well, Gemini does mean 2, right? Maybe there's just 2 of them.
Is that what Gemini means?
I think so. I'm going to look it up.
You look that up while I keep going through. So again, in the Gemini announcement, they said, starting today, Bard will use a fine-tuned version of Gemini Pro for more advanced reasoning, planning, understanding, and more. It also appears that the name that comes out of Bard might be Gemini Pro, but that's speculation. We'll have to see what happens. But I don't really get the nomenclature of Gemini Ultra Pro Lite and then Bard now being Gemini.
Well, a Gemini personality is playful and intellectually curious, so maybe that kind of makes sense for the name itself, but Gemini means the twins in Zodiac, so yeah, it's two. They're not twins,
Oh, the twins,
to
like
your point.
Ultra Pro and Nano.
Yeah, totally the same. They're fraternal twins.
Okay. So then I'm like, you know what? How can we confirm this news before we report today? I went to the source. I went to Bard themselves and I said, "Hi, Bard, are you changing your name to Gemini?" And this is the answer. They said, "You're very well informed. There are indeed reports and leaked documents suggesting that Google's AI chatbot Bard, which you're interacting with right now, might be rebranding as Gemini. This change is said to coincide with other updates, including launching a premium tier, introducing an Android app, and improving the user interface. While Google hasn't officially confirmed this name yet, the leaked documents suggest it could happen very soon, possibly today, February 7th. So to answer your question directly, there's a strong possibility that I might be called Gemini in the near future. But for now, you can still interact with me as Bard. I'm curious. What do you think about the potential name change?"
Ooh, I like that.
Here's me typing.
Yeah.
No, Bard really flows off the tongue.
Did you type that to it?
No.
You should have, because maybe it would have stopped them in their tracks.
No, I want Gemini. I don't want to say the word Bard anymore.
Yes, you do.
I do.
Last up here, kind of a nothing burger at the moment, only because we're not really sure where it'll land, but still important to talk about. The headline reads, "Google cannot proceed with third-party cookie deprecation." All about deprecation today. This is from Nicola Agius for Search Engine Land. So what is happening exactly? The UK's Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA, has some concerns over Google's privacy sandbox. This isn't the first time, but they're most recently noting that there is still work to be done to make sure that Google does not use its tools in a way that self-preferences its own advertising services. Specific things they called out: Google may continue to benefit from user activity data while limiting competitors' access to said data. Google will have the ability to control the inclusion of ad tech rivals, again, advantaging itself. And then they also noted that publishers and advertisers might be less able to efficiently identify fraudulent activity. So until these concerns are addressed, Google may have to delay the deprecation of cookies, but it might not happen because they're actively working to address these concerns. Like I said, it's not the first time. And apparently thus far, Google has fulfilled its commitments to making competition fairer. So I think they're just continuing to dive into this, and Google's continuing to work on it. So we're not really sure if there's going to be a delay. If there is, we'll, let you know. We'll just see how it shakes out. But FYI, there's more work to do on Google's side of things. Now it's time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a #fire digital marketing take with extra spice served up for you. We simply deliver the take for your consumption. We give no opinions. We don't influence. You make the call.
This week's Take of the Week comes from the one, the only, Anthony Hickman. He has a X post that says, "The keyword doomsday clock just moved up to 100 seconds to midnight. A Google rep emailed me today and mentioned keyword themes, and now search term categories is inside the ads tab." So again, he heard from two sources, one being actual inside the RSA. There are now search term categories your ad appears for. This makes me want to cry. A lot. Like, I could cry in demand about this.
Yeah, do tell.
Categories could be somewhat helpful. I'd agree with that, especially if you got broad match and just a basic keyword and something like podcasts. But yeah, you're showing for marketing podcasts. You're showing for digital marketing podcasts. You're showing for podcast platforms, podcast players. Like, that could be helpful. But Anthony is right, and I feel that in the depths of my heart, and it makes me really sad. I know I am the most pro Google marketer of the year 2022 and 2023. Nobody take that away from me. No, it's been awarded.
It's 2024 now, so
I know.
You gonna earn it?
No, I love Google Ads.
I know.
And I love what it can do for business, and I love what it can do for companies, and I love how successful you can be with it. And when I see these like innovations about search categories, it is actually very depressing to me, because Anthony's right. The writing is on the wall. And these changes, deep down, if we make a truth serum, we deliver it to Google, and we ask the execs why these changes are being made, it's not to improve performance. It never has been to improve performance. And I wish there was somebody at that company that was just spearheading the fact, like, let's make a platform that's awesome. Let's make
what a
something
novel
great.
idea.
And like, I stay up at night and I think about it. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking about the fact that being a public company is probably a huge competitive disadvantage in many ways. Obviously not besides the funding and the money, but the fact that you are beholden to those quarterly numbers that come out. Like, if you were actually in charge of Google, you would make it something that everybody loved, and you'd come out with different ways to target, and you'd be like, let's give you more and this. You wouldn't turn things into search categories. And just, I don't know why. I just had like a visceral reaction to seeing a screenshot about the fact that there's now the search term categories that your ad appears for. And I know we're getting to this spot too. And I feel like, I don't know, I was talking earlier, like, what are the stages of like grief or whatever? I've been in denial for a long time with this. And like, I don't know what the next one is, but I'm like here with it. And it's got to be just sheer sadness, because that's what I feel.
I think are we at acceptance yet? That's the last one, right? I don't feel like
no,
you're
I'm not at
accepting
acceptance.
this. Yeah, you're just feeling calm and sad.
I'm not calm.
You are very outwardly calm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Holding it in.
I'm trying not to freak out.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
But
if there was a ref here, maybe, respectfully.
With respect. No, but with respect, these changes, if you can only go towards categories, you are intentionally showing on more terms. I agree, there could be conversions, but at the same time, there is less targeting, less intentionality with what people are doing, less thought that goes into things, more waste, and it's just sheer sadness on my side of things. So, Thank you, Anthony.
Now it's time for this week's ICYMI. ICYMI, people, this is something you just might not have seen. Maybe something that you overlooked, but you shouldn't have. ICYMI, people, we're keeping it Google Ads here. This one's a little more informative, a little less sad. From Melissa Mackey at Beyond the Page.
Get it a little closer. Adam.
I need to. I got to read it. I should have blown up my screenshot. Okay. Melissa says, if you're using smart bidding, bid adjustments don't apply except for negative 100% for mobile devices or tablets. And that's a nugget, right? That is one post in a thread about how Google Ads bid adjustments are, in her words, woefully misunderstood. So if you are an advertiser using Google Ads, please go read the whole thing. She's got some clarity for us all, as well as offering some bonus content, a visual from Digital Sam I Am that kind of charts out what works where and how, which is really helpful. Everyone needs a refresher on how bid adjustments work or don't, especially as things get more and more complicated.
Yeah, and one thing in that thread she stated is that in that campaign specifically, there were bid adjustments for every single one of the 50 states that are just thrown out.
It just doesn't matter.
So this is your it's now almost like a bi-weekly reminder about how Google Ads works.
So, I mean, we need bi-weekly updates, honestly. Now it's time for this week's Pew Pew Lightning Round. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 3 parts: paid, organic, and social.
All right, and first up in the paid universe, Meta is enhancing the non-click video ads conversion insights. And according to Meta, they're helping advertisers take advantage of this video trend, the engaged view. Wondering what an engaged view is?
It's a trend.
It must be. Oh, I mean, they said it, so it must be real.
Yeah.
The engaged view can be counted in ads measurement reporting when somebody plays your video ads for a minimum of 10 seconds or watches 97% of the video length. 96% won't cut it if it's less than 10 seconds and converts within a 1-day window. Engaged view is available for all placements except Facebook in-stream video ads that cannot be skipped.
Which makes sense because that's automatic engagement, I guess.
I love this. I've been doing more YouTube stuff and just seeing the overall lift of view through conversions, like this engaged view. It's really powerful. And I think a lot of times as PPCers, it's a stupid term. We're digital advertisers. I don't get the PPCers, whatever.
It's just shorter.
Right. But like, if you look at things and you look at view through conversions on Google Ads or engaged view on Meta, not everybody is always exactly ready to purchase. And to be able to say, you saw this and then you convert it. Obviously, there's got to be things like you need to be using the Facebook browser or you need to have the Facebook Pixel installed. But this is, I think, very helpful. You can then add more of those conversions on. You just want to know that that's what you're going after. I think that's the key. So I'm all in on this. I've got a new section here. We're just going to debut it. I didn't okay this with Shep. I'm sorry.
She's not here.
It's called the It's Not You, It's Google section of the show. Okay. First up, Google is investigating, quote, brutal local service ads tactic that is destroying leads for business from Search Engine Land, and Nicole Agus. This Google loophole enables competitors to intentionally manipulate the system, making your ads invisible without your knowledge. You can set up an LSA account and link it to somebody else's Google business profile. And if you do so, what will happen is the original ads become invisible, killing off all the leads, according to the article. And the article goes on to say, alarmingly, competitors can use this loophole to intentionally create LSA linked to your GBP or Google business profile without your knowledge, preventing your ad from reaching customers. There was Ben Fisher, the co-founder at Steady Demand, and he said this is a brutal new tactic that competitors are doing on LSA. A competitor makes a new LSA, and the system will essentially nuke the competitor out of existence. It's wrong on many levels. Ginny Marvin, our bastion of hope for Google support, said that she's looking into the issue. And if there's one thing I know, if Ginny's looking into the issue will be fixed.
Yeah, she's actually looking into it and more.
Okay, next up in the It's Not You, It's Google section, Google is investigating bugs that are impacting the payment method in credit card updates. There are many advertisers that noticed that they were unable to change any credit cards. It seemed like there might have been a workaround where you can go to fix issues on one error warning and get to the credit card section, but most people were unable to update payment methods. So if that's you, it does seem like it's being fixed. Just give it a minute. And if you're out of budget, I'm sorry. I'm sorry on behalf of Google.
They're sorry too. They want the
I don't know if
cash.
they're sorry.
Well, they want the money.
I'm not going to speak on their behalf, but I'm going to speak on behalf of me if I was a Google rep. I'm sorry. Okay. Google is investigating a confusing ad text error that's impacting ad campaigns. Users with time-sensitive campaigns on Google Ads are recommended to upload new assets or edit existing assets using a different label. And apparently, the issue is showing that it is saying it's confusing text.
In the ad?
The screenshot that Adrian Decker shared with Nicola from Search Engine Land made it look like it might have been a PMAX campaign, but he was saying something in the headline that said, shine with ultimate armor. And Google Ads was saying it's confusing text. So then he said, best of ceramic coating in PPF. And Google said that's confusing text. Then he said, it's ultimate armor - no scratches. And Google said that's confusing text. So if you're seeing confusing text issues there, Google is apparently saying the only known workaround at this time is for the advertiser to upload new assets or to edit the existing assets to replace those that are currently labeled. And the term assets is a broad term. I don't want to get into it. I'm really trying not to rant today.
Theory.
Yeah.
Small conspiracy theory. Since the reps know so little about the product, they just call everything an asset so that they don't even have to know which part we're talking about.
Well, you said they know little about the product. I'd say they know nothing.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah. But then they just give them a blanket term. Everything's an asset. They can't be wrong.
Well, with PMAX, everything technically is an asset. But with everything else, things are...
I know. Anyway.
Can we?
It's not you,
Can
it's
we
Google.
zen out for a second?
Sure.
I'm not going to rant today.
Okay.
So, any of your headlines, descriptions, site links, anything like that, if you get confusing text, I'm just going to call those assets for today. So, try to do a new one. A lot of times you can just edit something and resubmit it. Even if it's the same thing, you can resubmit it. Just do that if you get the confusing text error.
Up next, we have another article from the one and only Nicola over at Search Engine Land. It is regarding advertiser sentiment towards AI in response to those RSA updates that were announced last week. We talked about those in last week's episode in the main news. Catch up if you haven't, but it sparked a much bigger conversation about the use of automation in Google Ads in general. Nicola wanted to hear from some advertisers from the community.
They getting any good?
They got this one guy, Greg Finn. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I was just talking to her. I was just messaging her. I like didn't make something smart to put out there, so it was a lot of my like,
You've
stupid.
been quoted several
I know,
times.
but it's just my stupid instant thoughts.
But I think that's good. You do want to talk about it, honestly, because again, I feel like a lot of people kind of share the same. I'll use the word sentiment again because I got nothing. Same sentiment as you, but
yeah, I mean, to me, the RSA thing last week, fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good. I think RSAs need to change. I like the fact you can have a single headline RSA. Do I think you should take the second headline and put it towards a description? Maybe, maybe not. That's fine. I don't have problems with that. From my side of things, when you have to use automation, there's nothing else. That's the problem. And to me, like the biggest automation hurdle that people come across, especially in high CPC markets, is close variants. There's nothing remotely in the same hemisphere as the issue with the automation of close variants. Mm-hmm. And it's, to me, it's like automation is good. I would go on the record saying 80% of my campaigns that I'm looking after are using automation. Whether it's smart bidding, whether it's mainly just smart bidding. But I use Broadmatch. I use Broadmatch a lot. I was somebody who would never use Broadmatch. I use Broadmatch because it works. I use Performance Max because it works. Not because I like it, but because it works. I like the results. Mm-hmm. And to me, the ability to selectively choose the automation that you want to use is the important part of it.
Yep.
And when it gets to something like close variants or like that, where you have no way of opting out of it, to me, that's the issue that we're concerned about, because we want the best for our clients, for our companies, for our brand. Like that's the whole thing. And it's not because, it's the word automation is included in it. It's because I don't want my personal injury attorney terms to match with somebody else's brand name.
Right.
That's the problem with it.
And that's what I think a lot of people were saying is similar things. They like the automation when it works, but there needs to be guardrails. There needs to be some controls. Advertisers still need to be able to pull some levers. And I'm paraphrasing here, but that's pretty much the theme of what everybody was saying, yourself included.
Yeah. And again, I think automation is good, but I think it should be used selectively. Mm-hmm. I think AI is good. It should be used selectively. There's a lot of nuance in there. And that's my favorite thing. Instead of, don't ever say again, it depends. There's nuance to everything. Mm-hmm. But if you can use it to your success, Broadmatch, great. I can use target return on ad spend automation with Broadmatch automation, and I can look and harvest and use something to try to find new leads that I might have missed. Great. But I can also bid to make sure my impression share for exact quote unquote match terms is on the higher end of things. So like, I'm okay with that.
But that's you putting the human element in with the AI, which Google said is the TLDR on their response is like, basically when humans and machines combine, you get the best results, and follow best practices and we'll keep listening to you. So they didn't really say much, but.
Right, but then you see the search term categories. And it's like, you're either not making that for humans or you're making that for, I'm not going to curse again.
Zen back out.
I'm zenning out.
Zen back out.
You're making that so that people will spend more money down the road, or for people that are lazy and stupid. It's one of the two.
Maybe both.
And if you're lazy and stupid, you probably don't care. It's whatever. So I am dead set on not ranting today, Jess.
Okay.
Don't get in my way.
We can move on. We could talk about money real quick. Two last things here in paid, just some dollar signs. So Amazon, we got some Q4 reporting here. Amazon's ad services revenue was up 27% year over year in Q4. That's a lot.
Can I talk about that quick?
I would love for it. Yeah, go for it.
This might be one of the best business tricks that's ever been played on anyone.
What, to give a high percentage that things are up?
You were selling product. You were taking a percentage of the product. And at the same time, in one quarter, you were making $14 billion on people trying to give you a percentage of their product. That is galaxy brain.
Meta saw some growth too. Its ad revenue was up 24% year over year in Q4. 2023 was $38.7 billion compared to $31.3 billion last year. Also of note, daily active users on Facebook was up 6% year over year and 8% up across the entire Meta family. So people are using it. People are advertising on it. I don't think anyone's surprised, but still growing. That's it for paid. What is happening in organic, Mr. Finn?
Okay, add this to the in memoriam list here because one of my favorite features of Google, and especially just trying to diagnose things in the SERPs, is the cache link. And it is going away. Google has officially removed the cache link from the SERPs as of last week, and Google confirmed it will remove the cache functionality completely in the near future. I would always look at it and just be like, hey, quick, what did Google see on this page? Is there something that was like missing, something that didn't get picked up? Googlebot couldn't crawl it or whatever. And Danny Sullivan, Google's search liaison, had told Search Engine Land that Google has decided to retire it and removed it from the search results page and will remove it completely. So if you're looking for anything old, your only real shot right now is the Wayback Machine, archive.org. So you're going to have to use that now. So good luck and God bless. Okay, Google has also revamped its SEO starter guide with a focus on a starter audience. So I'm just going to go through kind of what it changed, and Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Land did a great job outlining it. Also an incredibly fast talker. He says, Google removed the glossary section and the structured data section. Google removed this section because it said that it's more of an advanced topic that starters don't have to think about, unquote. Plus, Google said, quote, if someone is using a content management system or CMS like Wix or Tables, bleep this out, they might try to use a plugin and not have to worry about learning how to add code to their website. They also updated the mobile friendliness section, and Google said most new sites and platforms are already mobile friendly. So Google decided this was not needed anymore. And they also removed the analyzing site performance section. Google did add why do this? And Google added sections that lacked answer to why should I do this and why is this thing not there? And then SEO theories and ideas. Google added a new section about common SEO theories and ideas about where Google thinks people shouldn't focus too much. So I think that's helpful. And then also what is duplicate content? Any of those questions people have. So if you're new to SEO, you can check out the starter pack there. All right. And according to Danny Goodwin from Search Engine Land, 1 year later, a little change to Microsoft Bing's search market share. And he says, despite lots of hype and hope from Microsoft, Google still dominates search. The Bing has made tiny gains, US and worldwide. So Bing is up to 7.87% of all search, up from 6.35%, and that's in the US. and actually worldwide being declined. It increased from 2.81% to 3.43%. I read those numbers backward. And Google is the one that declined from 88.96% to 87.46%. Ooh. And worldwide, it dropped from 93.37% to 91.47%. From Search Engine Roundtable, Google is adding the ability to search just for web results, like you would filter by just video results. So Barry Schwartz had said the 10 blue links are back. And there were some screenshots that were provided to Barry from Pundit, who shared this with Barry on Mastodon.
People are still using Mastodon?
Still a thing.
Thought it was extinct.
The Don lives on. And when you hit web results, it's just like a listing like you used to see. So if you want that, that's cool.
Nostalgic.
Great.
I like it.
I like more options. Okay, next up, Google is facing a new U.S. antitrust jury trial in September. This probably should have gone to the paid side of things because this one seems like it's all about the dominance of digital advertising technology. And I think Google, it will lose this big time.
You think?
What came out in the last DOJ investigation about the fact that Microsoft was pushing for changes within DoubleClick and Google was slowing those down, that screams monopoly to me, where you're not helping your competitors get what they want when you had said you would. That seems like antitrust. So it will now happen on September 9th, 2024, and we'll keep you covered. All right, Microsoft Copilot updates. There's the new design, image editing tools, and video highlights. Copilot is the ChatGPT of Microsoft, and you can now do inline editing of AI-generated images with Microsoft Designer integration. And there's new video highlights in Edge. I got a new section here.
Oh,
I'm
you
just bringing
have
them
several
all
new sections
today.
this week. Yeah,
Let's
what you got?
Checking AI in on ya. Checking AI in on ya.
Checking AI and that is hard to say.
Yeah,
it looks
it's great.
good
No,
in
it's
writing.
It rolls off the tongue.
No, it does not.
And from brandbuilders.io, they had a new study, a lot of good AI stuff in there. But one thing that stood out is that 41% of marketers say that AI is less creative than them.
I don't know. It comes up with some wild stuff.
Now, let's contradict that with the new study from SEMrush, aka SEMrush, aka SMrush. They say that 54% of people that responded to the survey preferred content that had been created by AI rather than humans. It's like Rocky and Bullwinkle, right? A, either people hate creative work, or B, you're not as creative as you think you are.
It's true. I'm not saying AI stuff is good, but it is creative. I have seen some things that don't make sense, which is creative.
Okay.
And I like that. I don't hate that.
And that's it in organic. What's happening in social, bud?
Not much. But first up, move over Google. We have a post on X from the one and only Glenn Gabe, who says, interesting. TikTok's prompting users to download a new dedicated TikTok search shortcut for your home screen. So we know, we've talked about, a lot of people do perform searches on TikTok. That's their go-to search engine. And now you can just have that straight from your home screen on your phone. You don't even have to go into the app and then search. So smart.
It's a move.
Pretty smart.
It's a move.
Yeah. All right. So a bit ago, Meta announced the release of the latest version of their graph and marketing APIs. With that, they quietly noted the deprecation of their Facebook Groups API. So if you're currently using that to push out posts in about 3 months, you will not be able to.
What is going on?
I don't know. They said that the main reason people are using the Groups API is just to post private replies, which the new Graph API will take care of.
I know I talked about last week in Tables Cut, probably 90% of it out, but there are cults that start in Facebook groups, like twin flames. You're taking something
they need an API
as potent as Facebook groups that can start cults and ruin people's lives, and you're like, we're not gonna support this anymore.
It's crazy. And people are mad about it too. There's a lot of developers and marketers that are angry. They're like, you're pushing us to TikTok now because you're taking things away. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like they don't really understand the way that people are using the API. They're just saying, well, this one thing, we're going to move it over there. And that's all you needed this for. And it sounds like it's not true to people that it matters to. So RIP in peace. There's also some interesting discourse happening on Threads about Threads. It all started with this Mike Haas 3 who said, hot take, Mosseri's the best person to lead Instagram, not a good one for Threads. Adam Mosseri chimed in and asked why. And there's just a lot of back and forth. It's pretty interesting if you care and you want to read about it. But essentially, people are asking for more content from the people they care about. They want to be able to see it in like lists and things like that. Better ways to segment stuff versus just like a For You page. And Adam Mosseri said, we understand and it's on the table. My honest take, though, is that requested features like lists, an edit button, following feed, trending, and hashtags are all good to build, but none noticeably grow Threads or Threads usage. We'll continue to build them because it's good to build features that your most engaged users are excited about, but it's hard to prioritize them when measurable impact is negligible. I feel like you have people finally using your platform. There's things that they want, and it sounds like you're hearing them and you're going to do it. So why would you just say something to say it's not important? But it's like a lot of back and forth. I like that he's listening to people and engaging with them, but I don't think he's giving them anything.
No.
He's saying that we're going to give you things.
This loser is past his prime. This loser.
That's what this guy says.
It's all those
It's Mike
silky
Haas
shirts,
things.
all those little chambrays and things he's wearing. He's past
That was
his
a good
prime.
move. That was very Adam Mosseri of you.
Too much.
Yeah.
You are trying to build a real-time communication platform. Correct, or am I incorrect?
Correct, but without
What?
news or politics, first of all.
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
What do people care about? What is happening real time? Now, you're going into it and saying, we don't want to be political. We don't want to touch hard subjects. Then guess what? Your silly little platform will not be the go-to source for real-time communications.
Tables, we got him to rant.
No, this is not a rant.
Yeah, it is.
This is not a rant. If you want Threads to be a thing, copy X. But don't take X and take the insane person out of X.
Pretty simple.
Take all the politics and partisanness and all the thoughts and whatever. Take that out of X and just make a new X. People want to know what's trending. You're going to this for real-time communication to see instant thoughts on stuff. People want to know what other people think. People don't want to hear what Elon Musk has to think. How is this so simple yet so hard?
But he's also saying that he's going to do it. I just don't get that. He's like, it's not important, but we'll do it for you. But it's not going to help our growth. Somebody even commented and was like, I don't care.
Why would you be like, I want to help our growth? No, that is the ass backward way of thinking. To be like, hey, Jess, hey, we're going to go through a performance review of you. You know what? What are some of the thoughts you have? Are you looking for more resources?
Yes.
Well, that's not going to help my growth, Jess. You know what? It's not going to help my growth. So you don't get it. You don't get the resources because it's not going to help my growth. No, your whole thing is about cultivating a community, cultivating people that enjoy the product, cultivating people that can't think about not using the product. And you're sitting out here being like, well, it's not going to help my growth. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I cannot believe that Threads is still a thing. I cannot believe Adam Mosseri is running this thing. And then the way he's saying these things is so condescending to me because he's such a smug little guy in his stupid glasses and a silk shirt. He's like, oh, that's interesting. There's often a pattern, blah, 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 help my growth. How about somebody in the world thinks about the people using the thing?
Are you Mike Haas 3?
No, is that what he said?
He's the one that started it all. But yeah. And again, I reiterate, he says they're still going to do the things, they're just not important. So
no,
you're just being
why
rude.
It's doomed.
Right.
This is why it's doomed. It's because of Adam Mosseri. You heard it here first. RIP this. It's going to be in memoriam 2025 Threads. RIP because of Adam Mosseri.
And that brings us to our real life segment, straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes. It's time for Working Hard or Hardly Working, where we talk about what's going on in our IRL work, good, bad, or otherwise.
All right, this week, something working hard for me. When it first launched, Bard, aka Maybe Gemini.
Maybe Gemini.
I wasn't a fan. It's pretty good now. I feel like I go to Bard quite a bit, and it does a good job.
And you like talking to it. It's a friendly little buddy.
I mean, I like its creativity about like world destruction and stuff like that, but
Is it more creative than you?
no. No, I'd come up with something better. I'd come up with something better.
For world destruction?
Yeah. I think I'd be like EMP.
Was that the
Electromagnetic pulse?
Yeah, like the James Bond thing?
Yeah, I think that's what. But then, like, it can't really say that because then it dies. But I'm more creative than Bard.
True. Yeah, you are a human.
But I would just say, if you tried it when it first came out, it is much better. Just like most things Google launches, PMax, Demand Gen is better now. Not good, but better.
There's a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about you?
Speaking of getting better, I want to shout out to Kat Woodcock on our team. She has been doing some work here internally to improve our processes. I feel like we do a good job for our clients and try to streamline and be efficient. But when it comes to our own stuff, we don't always do that. It's been a really good exercise and it's been very handy and we're working smarter, not harder. So thank you, Kat. Working hard.
And now for this week's
Cool Tool.
As a reminder, our Cool Tool segment is not an official endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something we found in our travels that may be of use to our listeners. And is really, really cool.
This week's cool tool isn't hard to use because it's Bard, and I don't know anything that rhymes with Gemini, so I'm not even gonna try.
My favorite Outkast album was ICYMI.
What?
So why don't you use Gemini?
Sure, we'll go with that. Sorry, Shep. So we alluded to it earlier, but Bard can now generate images for you, and it is not horrible. I asked it to create an image of 2 podcast hosts that were missing their friend that's homesick, and I'm not sure if they licensed the use of the Nike logo on this guy's shirt, but otherwise they look like they're in a lot of despair. These 2 are really missing Shep.
Yeah, and the other thing, like Google had said it wasn't going to because there's a whole bunch. Apparently, the world is all about Taylor Swift. If you're happy, I'm happy. I don't care about Taylor Swift. I'm happy that you're happy. That's my take.
Fair.
If you like Taylor Swift, I'm happy.
I'm okay with her.
Yeah, but that's fine. But apparently the world has gone bonkers about Taylor Swift. So much so that Google won't make any single AI content about Taylor Swift. I'm like,
that's a stance.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, Bard, can you make Taylor Swift as a robot? It's like, we cannot do this. So then I'm like, hey, you know what, Bard? I'm smarter than you. I'm 41% more creative than you. Give me a physical description of Taylor Swift. And it did. So then I said, take this physical description and show me this person cheering for the 49ers. And I did. And this is near identical. Look it up on the screen if you're not watching on YouTube. If you're looking on Spotify and listening, pull it up on video. How could you tell this is different than the actual Taylor Swift herself?
I mean, it doesn't really look like her, but I'm just shocked at the fact that you use Bard to make the physical description.
What picture are you looking at?
The San Francisco cheerleader that you put on here.
That's just like her.
It doesn't. Her nose is much wider.
No,
cheeks are
because what
too
Bard
fat.
said is the
she
height and
doesn't
build
have a heart-shaped face.
is 5'11", tall and slender build, naturally blonde. She's experimented with various shades. Her eyes are vibrant blue-green, often described as captivating and expressive. And she's got a heart-shaped face. This is Taylor Swift in a 49ers shirt. I also don't know
the wrong team, though, right?
That's why I was trying to make something funny.
Oh. I
was trying to make a funny Taylor Swift.
Got it.
So anyway, I thought it looked pretty spot on. If you want to
Do you really, or are you messing with me?
No.
That does not look like Taylor Swift. It looks more like Carrie Underwood. Shep would agree with me. I know she would.
No, I think that's Taylor Swift.
That's not Taylor Swift.
Bard disagrees.
Anyway, it is pretty cool. I will say it's a very lifelike image of some young lady. Anyway, new capabilities for Bard. As always, we'll have the link in our newsletter as well as on Discord. It's newsletter.and community.marketingclock.com, respectively, with respect. So pick your poison and check it out.
We might need to get her to a lens crafters, though. Her eye is a little off.
Now it's time for our must-read marketing article of the week. An article so advanced, so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show.
This week's must-read marketing article of the week comes from the one, the only power listener of the show, Sarah Steeman, and it's over on Search Engine Land called Value-Based Bidding, why it's key to boosting your Google ads. And Sarah goes in depth deep, detailed information about what is value-based bidding, the contrast of value-based bidding with what people sometimes they think is value-based bidding, which is maximized conversions bidding, the traditional application of value-based bidding. She goes into some exceptions about value-based bidding for lead gen advertisers, and then kind of breaks it down to some approaches to value-based bidding. One being like ranking values method, and the other being like the true value of each conversion, which we're, fans of. And then also talks to the entire paid search community and gets their thoughts, and then has the verdict for value-based bidding. So if you have not implemented value-based bidding right now, go listen to Sarah. Go follow Sarah. Amazing marketer, Sarah Steeman. Thank you so much. Check it out over on Search Engine Land, or get all the news on newsletter.marketingclock.com or community.marketingclock.com.
And now on to our playlist of curated songs to work to, which you can find over at playlist.marketingclock.com. Greg, what is going on the playlist for you this week?
Honestly, there's been a lot going on this week, and I forgot to do this. So I'm going to do it live here for you. Slip by Nicotine Dolls. Did I add that yet?
Not to my knowledge. I really thought you were going to say Slipknot, though. I got excited.
Nope. Slip by the Nicotine Dolls.
All right. And for me, it is Sparks by Coldplay. That does it for today's show.
It is now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Thanks for listening. We miss you already.
And we can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Marketing O'Clock. If you're looking for more information on today's topics, head over to marketingoclock.com/newsletter to receive every single article we covered. We share the news as it breaks in our Discord community. Head over to community.marketingoclock.com to join.
Welcome to this week's episode of Shootin' the Heck, where after our famous Friday marketing news shows, we don't talk about marketing anymore. We just
shoot the heck and get the intro wrong.
Look, Shep, as we talked about, isn't here today. I'm doing the best I can.
You're
Jess.
doing all right.
Thank
You're
you.
doing all right.
And Tables is doing his best as he brought the actual game today. And I believe it is to pump us all up for the big game. I don't know if you can say Super Bowl or not.
You just did.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Well, hey, redacted. Officially redacted. Also, why can't you say that?
I don't know.
That's
Is it
what it's
trademarked?
Called. You just gotta call it the big game.
The big game.
Okay, Tables, what do you got for the Shootin' the Heck this week?
Okay, so the big game had media day yesterday, and over the years of the big game, there have been some terrible questions asked. So we're going to divvy them up and vote on which ones we think are the worst.
So we're going to make a bracket, and together we're going to come up with the worst question ever asked before the big NFL football game, aka the Super Bowl.
Pretty much. And if you disagree with us, we're going to have a poll on Spotify where you can vote on that as well.
And disclaimer, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, if you disagree with us,
Yeah, you're
don't.
wrong.
Totally wrong.
Okay.
Round one. So Rams quarterback Kurt Warner was asked, do you believe in voodoo? And if so, can I have a lock of your hair?
I mean, this might be the winner.
I mean, I feel like this person believes in voodoo.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. This is like, and I'm also like, I've been reading all these apocalyptic books, and I'm like, people should worry about their hair more.
Yeah.
Like,
It
there's
could
gonna
be
a lot
used.
you're gonna be able to get from that
Yeah.
down the road.
It can be used against you.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Okay,
Very
so we have voodoo, and then we also have, mind you, this is being asked to a Broncos fullback, an NFL fullback named Detron Smith. He was asked, what size panties do you think you would wear?
I didn't think the other one had a chance to lose, but that's
What is the criteria here? The worst question?
Which
The
is a worse
creepiest
question? Do you believe in voodoo, and can I have a lock of your hair? Or what size panties do you think you'd wear?
I gotta go with lack of hair because one is inappropriate. Both are inappropriate, but one has malice.
Yeah, one is like, give me something
Yes,
of yours.
the too much malice.
I don't,
with the first one.
Or possibly they might be casting a love spell.
I mean, one might be just somebody, they're out there shooting their shot, just trying to like get noticed. Like, hey, what was your panties like? And the other one is like, can I get the hair? That's too much.
Yeah.
Hair.
Yeah, definitely.
Hair.
Okay, moving on. Round two. So Cowboys running back Emmitt Smith was asked, what do you think you will be wearing to the game on Sunday?
That is,
That's pretty good.
that's yeah. Now, helmet,
Jersey.
pads.
In the
Maybe what
same-
cologne? What scent? perhaps?
I have no idea. In the same Super Bowl media day, Bills center Kent Hall was asked by a reporter if he could have his pants.
If he could have the reporter's pants?
No, if the reporter could have Kent Hall's pants.
So this must have been in the 90s. Did the Bills win that one, Tables?
Come on.
They barely lost.
Ouch.
Hey, how many have the Lions been to?
Oh.
The fact that he's a center is weird that you're asking for his pants.
Why? Do they not wear pants?
Generally, you have a little more mass. You're a little larger human. You got a quarterback's hands right there on your pants, right on your, right on your anus.
Oh.
Like, I think the Kent Hall. I'm going Kent Hall.
I don't know. I just feel like why would you ask someone what they would wear to the game?
To be fair, there are people, like, have you ever seen Ben Simmons in an NBA game?
No.
It is the most wild thing. So a lot of times also like people wear fancy clothes to the game. So I think it was probably just a nervous reporter. I'm going Kent Hall because somebody wants the pants from the game because the quarterback had their hands right up in there in their butt.
I'm going to disagree with you just because Tables said that he would be the tiebreaker, and I'd love to know what he thinks.
I can see why both would be chosen, but I'm going to go with what are you going to wear in the game on Sunday? Because obviously
you just don't want the Bills to be a loser again. You just don't want them to be embarrassed again by the Cowboys. That's why this is all now under protest. The rest of this.
All right, whatever. Moving on. Washington quarterback Doug Williams. So a little bit of background. He was the first African-American quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. And a reporter asked him, Doug, would it be easier if you were the second black quarterback to play in the Super Bowl? I don't get it.
Okay, so that's question one. All right, what's question two?
Okay, so question two, this was back in the day. I don't even know what year. Raiders quarterback Jim Plunkett was asked, Jim, is it your mother who's blind and your father who's deaf, or the other way around?
These are awful questions.
This is before Google.
I don't even think this is a close second. This is the Jim Plunkett one.
It's gotta be.
Right? Because like Doug Williams is like a very revered quarterback. Everybody doubted him. He was the first African-American to be quarterback. I was just listening to an interview where they're talking specifically about Doug Williams paving the way. The fact that the saying paving the way even exists sort of legitimizes that second question because somebody has to pave the way and everybody knows it was Doug Williams. So maybe you shouldn't have asked that question. I concur, but he is a revered figure in the NFL because of that. So maybe it wasn't the best worded question, but Jim Plunkett about the blindness and the deafness, 100%.
Yeah, that's just a weird thing to clarify and just be like, or is it the other way around? I don't like
Do
that.
your
I
research.
don't like
You're
the
a
delivery.
reporter.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Do your homework like Tables did. He
Do
knows
your
what
job.
year this was.
Okay.
Yeah.
In all fairness, it was before Google. But anyway. Okay, so last year, round 4, Nick Sirianni was asked, Nick, what player on the Eagles would you let date your daughter? Now, in response to this, Nick Sirianni said, my daughter is 5 years old.
I think we got a winner, Jess. We got a winner.
Okay.
So good.
What are people doing?
Okay, so in 2012, Ravens tight end Dennis Pitter was asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ticklish are you?
That's a good question.
Stupid, but
That's a kind of a good question.
it's an interesting one. It's
Like-
not bad. It's strange.
Yeah. I mean, maybe like trying to get a competitive advantage. Maybe as a reporter on the other team. The 49ers reporter or something like that. It's the Nick
Definitely.
Sirianni.
Yeah, the child one.
I don't want to talk about
gotta
it.
be.
Can we move Dennis Pitt up so I don't have to talk about 5-year-olds anymore?
Okay, 5th and final round. So in 2013, Broncos linebacker Danny Trevathan was asked, who would you rather see in a thong, Andy Reid or Mark Mangio?
Why are there all these underwear questions?
I don't know. Yesterday, Patrick Mahomes was asked, Pat, how do you feel about your dad being arrested?
I'm still mentally recovering because I had to just imagine Andy Reid in a thong for a second, Tables. So thank you. This is the worst question answer category.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go thong.
Really?
Do you want to see a picture of Andy Reid?
I don't know who that is.
I would say he probably wouldn't make it on the Chippendales A team.
Gotcha. I don't know. I just, off my initial reaction, I laughed harder at the arrested thing, which you're probably not supposed to laugh at. I'm sure it's a sensitive subject. But,
DWI, not something, no joking.
oh,
No
yeah,
joking
that's
matter.
not funny at all. It also has nothing to do with football. The other question's football adjacent.
One is
Kinda,
birth adjacent. Can't play football without birth.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going thong.
Break the tie tables.
I think the Mahomes one's funnier, but I think the worst question.
Funnier?
Yeah, because it's so blunt. But I do think the worst question is Andy Reid thong, so I'm going to go with that.
Fine.
Okay, so let's do our final 5 and let's pick a winner. We'll do third place, second place, first place.
I
Okay,
like that.
perfect.
Remind me the 5, though.
Okay, so first up we have Kurt Warner Voodoo. Can I have a lock of your hair? What will you be wearing to Sunday's game? Asked to Emmett Smith. Then we have... Is your mother who's blind, your father who's deaf, or the other way around? Then we have Nick Sirianni being asked what player on his team he would let date his 5-year-old daughter. And then finally rounding it out, we have linebacker Danny Trevathan was asked who he would rather see in a thong, Andy Reid or Mark Mangio.
I've got my list. Feel free to interject if not.
Okay.
I've got third place, the thong. Because you're talking about your head coach, a person of authority, somebody who it's clearly inappropriate. That's 3 for me. Number 2 for me, which I thought was going to be number 1, was Kurt Warner.
Is that the voodoo one?
The voodoo.
Because
And
I
then
definitely
trying to
would
get
go
the hair.
number 1. Yeah.
But here's why I have number 1 being Jim Plum. Oh, you know what? I'm putting Nick Sirianni number 3. Take that back.
Yeah. The thong
Don't
one,
talk about
like,
5-year-olds.
whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
that's too much.
Yeah.
So, okay, get Andy Reid out of there.
Okay.
So, Sirianni 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is going to be Kurt Warner.
The hair.
And the voodoo.
Okay.
Number 1, because I'm trying to dive deep into the intentionality of the question. You have limited time at these things. It's a media frenzy. You have to kind of get your shot off, get that question. Hopefully you get something good from it. What the heck are you trying to get by asking Jim Plunkett if his mother was deaf or his father was blind, or his mother was blind and his father was deaf? That's like just a fact. Like, what? That is the number 1 stupidest question out of everything you've said, because there's no payoff.
That's true.
Like, all he
It's
does
just
is
a
be like-
confirmation of one
Yeah.
or the other. Yeah, that's
Like,
a good point.
Then you're done.
Yeah.
Then you're done.
Like,
that's a stupid question with
like
no. It's
a
not
yes
gonna
or no
lead
question,
anywhere.
basically.
Like, maybe Patrick Mahomes says something like very empathetic or something like that, or about his father. Maybe Nick Sirianni's like, well, I hope my daughter grows up to be somebody that looks for these characteristics. Or maybe Kurt Warner, like, there's nothing coming from who's blind, who's deaf. Nothing coming from that.
just an answer. Just
Yeah, just-
confirmation. Okay,
you
thanks.
could just go ask his agent or like somebody on his team. Like, you don't need to use your time for that. That's my number 1.
And I just love that it's all happening like this. So serious. Which of your parents is which?
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Do you disagree?
You've made a good case. I would not have picked those, but I'm with you now that you've said it.
And that was this week's Shootin' the Heck, and we'll see you next week.
You know what time it is. It's officially marketing o'clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.